But as I meet with members, I find that some express a religion or even a faith in God. But you know, it's not, unfortunately, uncommon to find that there's not much depth there. And we need to just be alert to that. And just because someone mentions God doesn't mean they've really humbled themselves before God. One member who's no longer in the Capitol, but former member from this party who I sat with, had a number of things in his office that describe his faith in God. A picture here, a Bible there, things about God. And on his website, a mention of his church. But as I spoke to him, he said, you know, to be honest, Frank, there's nothing there. I pushed back. Well, what do you mean? No. He said, he stopped. No, there's nothing there. You see, that's scary. Jesus talked about it. People honor him with their lips, but their hearts are far from him. And we don't want to be like that. Now, of course, most are not against God. It's just that their work, their mission becomes so important that they feel as long as they're doing that work, then they're doing God's work. And if I may quote C.S. Lewis again, this time from Screwtape Letters, he describes there a senior demon instructing a younger demon. And this was during the days of World War II, when the debate was not concerning Republican or Democrat. At that time in England, it was something different. It was the beginnings of the war, early stages before the war hit our country, and it was pacifists or patriots, they called them. Are we going to fight the war, or are we going to be pacifists? And this is how the demon in Screwtape Letters, the chief demon spoke to the younger demon about his subject who he was trying to destroy. Whichever he adopts, he said, your main task will be the same. Let him begin by treating the patriotism or the pacifism as a part of his religion. Then let him, under the influence of partisan spirit, come to regard it as the most important part. And then quietly and gradually nurse him onto the stage at which the religion becomes merely part of the cause, in which Christianity is valued chiefly because of the excellent arguments it can produce in favor of the British war effort or of pacifism. The attitude which you would guard against is that in which temporal affairs are treated primarily as material for obedience. Once you have made the world an end and faith a means, you have almost won your man. And it makes very little difference what kind of worldly end he's pursuing, provided that meetings, pamphlets, policies, movements, causes, and crusades matter more to him than prayer and sacraments and charity. He is ours. And the more religious on those terms, the more securely ours. Isn't that something? Yeah. So we have to be on guard against pride. We have to stay grounded, don't we? Maybe we need a friend like Harry Truman had. Or if you have a friend who's a government leader, be this friend for them. When Harry Truman was thrust into the presidency by the death of FDR, a friend took him aside and said to him this, from here on out, you're going to have lots of people around you, and they'll try to put up a wall around you and cut you off from any ideas but theirs. They'll tell you what a great man you are. But Harry, you and I both know you ain't. Very good. So we need to remember that, and remember that at the end of the game, as they say, both the king and the pawns go back in the same box. Right? We're all God's people under his leadership. So keep him first. As Lincoln said, my concern is not whether God is on our side. My greatest concern is to be on God's side. For God is always right. 1 Peter 5:6 says, therefore humble yourselves under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you at the proper time. And then as we read the rest of 2 Chronicles 7:14, then we'll be equipped to do that, right? If we humble ourselves, then God says, and pray.